Dear friends, good evening. Thank you for joining us to our pre-chamber lecture series. And tonight, our topic is the 7 chakras. I like this topic in particular because it clarifies many misconceptions around chakras, what the chakras do, how they spin, how is it that this stuff works. You see? Tonight, we're going to do our very best effort to clarify all of your doubts, and hopefully you will walk out of here with a trove of information that will be certainly very, very useful. So let's start by saying there is plenty of false information available. There are many experts, many quote-unquote experts out there, and there is a lot of confusion when it comes to this topic of the chakras. Now, certainly, this creates a problem. And we're not saying a problem in terms of conflict, or in terms of arguments or quarrels, but we're saying a problem because if you are a sincere seeker and you are being able to get your hands in information, the fact that you will be getting your hands on the wrong information is detrimental to your progress because it will bring confusion. And with wrong information, we will then be making wrong decisions. Let me give you an example of the many experts and the false information that exists out there. Look at what we have on the screen. This is a little snippet from some website. The website, we have included it there for you in case you would like to go out and check it. But you can see here at the top of the screen that it is referring to the chakra ajna. This is the chakra that exists right in between our eyebrows. And it says the chakra is your third eye, and it has this area holds a deep indigo rotating light. Imagine yourself becoming wiser as it spins and becomes brighter. You see? Right here in this very first paragraph, we have half-truth and some other stuff. Because by imagining that you will become yourself wiser because you're visualizing the chakra spinning, that is not going to make you wiser. What makes you wiser? Self-observation, meditation, chanting of the mantras, studying the material, reading the books. All of that together builds a culture that builds on your wisdom. And as you apply it, that wisdom becomes experiential knowledge. Then you can use it. But just because you're imagining the chakra spinning, that is not going to make you wiser. So this sets a false hope. But wait, as they say on TV, there is more. And then it says, finally shift your attention to the very top of your head. Imagine a vibrant spinning violet light that shines out of the top of your body. Yes. This light connects you to the universe. Yes. Feel the peace that comes with noticing this light. Yes. This helps. But now this is good information that helps combined with something before that does not help. And then what is the net effect? And now let's look at the last bullet. Wear a t-shirt featuring the 7 chakras to strengthen and balance your chakras. You know what? It just does not work like that. It does not work like that. If this were true, all of our friends who have spent so many hundreds of dollars in incense and mineral stones and quartz crystals and t-shirts and posters and pictures, they would have already reached illumination. But we know that that has not happened. So, friends, this is not gnosis. When we combine gnosis with not gnosis, it stops being gnosis. And gnosis is that which you can bring into your daily experience to build upon your experiential knowledge. Of course, you can argue, oh, but I could have tried and then I would have seen that it would have not worked. Yes, you are absolutely right. But this would have taken you some weeks, for some people, some months. And then those are weeks and months that then become lost. Time that you could have used on something truly useful. And now you burned all of that sexual creative energy on a useless practice. So let us tell you this. Certainly, we make our best effort to give you the best solutions, the best answers, and the best material, but we are only able to give you this much. We need to bring all of this into an exercise of meditation. We need to learn to trust the voice of the innermost, and we need to learn to perceive with our heart. So from that light, in that perspective, I will invite you to open yourself tonight to that which is new. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to relearn things, to erase old information that has not taken us far. And let's learn something new about the chakras. So when we speak of chakras, chakra is a Sanskrit word that stands for wheel. But it also means disc. This is a magnetic center that exists within our own body. And the awakening of the chakras does not depend on external minerals, stones, specific chanting, special practices. The awakening of the chakras depends on the merits of the heart. If we are fully invested in the revolution of the consciousness, if we are working to eliminate those egos, if we are embracing the faculties, the abilities, the powers, the laws, the virtues of the innermost, and we are exercising the sacrifice for humanity, well, that adds good value, good cosmic capital into the scale of justice that tilts the scale in our favor. And of course, all of those merits are then seen in the heart itself. It is the merits of the heart what allows the fire of Kundalini to rise. So merits of the heart help awaken the chakras. Imagine what would happen if you were able to awaken the faculties of your chakras and you had no merits. If you were all ego, if you were a tenebrous entity, certainly you would become a very powerful demon. And that would be very destructive for you, and it would create a lot of suffering to many others. So we have to learn to put all these things in a good perspective. The awakening of the chakras as well has nothing to do with the law of evolution. We have to keep in mind that the law of evolution brought us up to the point in which we received our first physical body. This physical body, which has been a gift of our Divine Mother, so that we can embark in the great work of the super dynamic of love, so that we can learn to transmute our creative energy, so that we can learn to awaken the fire of Kundalini, so that we can see the faculties of the innermost then manifest by virtue of us eliminating that inferior second nature that exists within us. Wow. That is the pinnacle of the law of evolution, receiving our first body. And from that moment, and not before, on, we have been walking down the path of involution, because the law of evolution and the law of involution, they are sisters. They complement each other. They are the ones who help spin the wheel of life, or the wheel of samsara. So there is no such a thing as a mechanical development of the chakras. There is no such a thing as that eventually we are all going to see our DNA recoded and that we are going to become beings of light just because of cosmic laws. It doesn't work like that. This requires of an internal revolution. Now, awakening the chakras has a lot of consequences. Consequences, well, certainly very constructive, because we today have 5 physical senses. We have the sense of smell, we have the sense of touch, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, and of course the sense of taste. And all of these senses are associated to the elements of nature. They're associated more specifically to the vibrations of the ether, to the tattvas. But beyond these 5 basic elements, these 5 senses of the human body, there are 7 faculties that come with each one of the chakras. And that means that we will end up with 12 faculties, with 12 senses, 5 inferior and 5 superior. And for us to be able to materialize the effect of awakening the chakras, we have to embrace two cosmic laws. The first one is the law of three. We know that this law of three is known as the cosmic law of the Triya Mashikano. Triya means three. And here we see the manifestation of three primary forces. We see the influence of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we, of course, are not surprised to hear that. We have learned that in many other lectures before. But specifically for the chakras, these three primary forces exist within us right here and right now. Because not only we have the atom of the innermost in the left ventricle of the heart, that is the atom nous, we also have three other atoms. The atom of the Father that is connected to the brain. It exists right there, corresponding with the hypothalamus. And, well, the Father makes an effort to communicate, but because we have so many egos, these egos have blocked, they have taken over most of the 300,000 receptors of the mind. And when the Father speaks, the ego creates interference and it misconstructs, it translates incorrectly the impulse of the Father. And then you will get some direction and suddenly you will find yourself in your mind doubting it. Or you would not like it. Or you would become afraid of it. This is what the ego does. So the Father tries to communicate. The ego intervenes and corrupts the message. And because you don't receive it correctly, well, you cannot take the right action. So what does the Father do? It uses then another force, which is a force of the Holy Spirit. The force of the Holy Spirit are the forces of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is known, of course, as the creator and the destroyer. And the atom of the Holy Spirit is connected to the pineal gland. But the pineal gland also corresponds with our sexual creative organs. And when the Father communicates through the impulses of the Holy Spirit, because we have so much ego that has created so much interruption, when you receive those impulses from the Holy Spirit, them being associated with creation and creative power, well then, those impulses become misconstrued by the ego, and at the level of the body, we have so much conditioning that they start feeling like a sexual excitement. And if we fail to realize that that is an impulse of the Holy Spirit, if we fail to take that energy and transmute it so that we can keep it within the body and make it available for our spiritual practice, then we make the mistake of spilling it. And we can waste this energy in many different ways. Because of course we can abuse of the sexual organs and we can expel of our creative waters, and that create distance. It creates suffering and distance because it separates us from our real being. But if we take that energy and then we use it to watch pornography, if we take that energy and we use it to go out and judge others and criticize, be cynical, be sinister, then we are burning that energy and waste that. The energy is not meant to be used. So we're wasting it as well. So when the Holy Spirit tried to speak, the ego creates interruption as well, and we misread that and we waste that. That's the creative energy. So the Father has no other option than to speak through the Son. And the Son corresponds to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland and the atom of the Son correspond with the heart. And luckily we have the atom of the innermost in the heart itself. And this is why the Father then relies on the Son to redeem man, to save man by communicating directly with the innermost. So we have to learn to perceive the voice of the innermost. And this is part of embracing those impulses that come from these three primary forces. But these forces enable creation. And we know that creation is always chaotic. It has to be brought into an organization. And this is why we have the law of the Epta para Parshinok. Epta means 7. And this law of the Epta para Parshinok takes creation and organizes it. Now, the cool thing about this is that we have spoken in terms of our dynamics with the cosmos. We have spoken right now in terms of our relationship with nature, with divinity. But these two laws also manifest within each and every one of us. Because the tria machikamno, that three, is the combination of our cerebrospinal system. That is what the Apostle Paul refers to as the atom, as the temple of the Holy Spirit. And then the two others are the grand sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. One of them is the one responsible for the impulses of fighting or fleeing. And the other one is responsible for the activities of relaxation and digestion. So in our body, we see the law of Triamashikamno physically as the grand sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, and the main pillar of the body, which is the brain and the spine. And what brings organization into that, in terms of the law of the Epta para Parshinok, 7, are the 7 chakras. Because these chakras are connected and they bring energies into the body from within the higher realms of creation. So here's how we see, how is it that these two laws help us work with these magnetic centers in our body. Now this body, we know that it is not just this combination of carbon and hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and some phosphates. This organic machine is a little more than what it seems, because we have the body of this corruptible flesh. We have all these bodies, but we also have a vital body. And that vital body is responsible for keeping the physical body alive. And these two, well, they operate together. So in one extreme, we have the physical body with its vital centers, and it keeps the physical body alive. On the other extreme, we have the spirit, our innermost. But our innermost is a citizen of the macrocosmos. For those of you who are not familiar with that yet, the macrocosmos is the galaxy. So for all practical purposes, our spirit is a citizen of the galaxy. Our spirit cannot just descend and walk around this earth because it needs to have the right bodies to do so. So what is that the spirit does? It makes use of the physical body as a vehicle so that we can move in this realm of the dense substance, and it creates an intermediary, a bridge between the physical body and the spirit itself, and that is the soul. Our soul is made of consciousness. Consciousness is just the psychic material that the innermost has given us so that we can fabricate a true solar soul. This soul that we have today is more of a lunar nature. This soul, well, it is just a fragment, a spark from the great bonfire that is the human soul of the innermost. And because that spark of consciousness, well, it has all of the capabilities and powers of the innermost, even though it is infinite degrees of difference between that spark and the innermost itself. Because it has all those faculties, well, as we have created psychological aggregates using the same process of creation that our Father has, well, we have created all these aggregates and we have forgotten to bring them to an end. And now we have to deal with this baggage that we have created life after life after life. So the ego becomes an obstacle. And we know that we must observe it to comprehend it and eliminate it. And in that process, we gain merits at the level of the heart that allow for some faculties and virtues of the chakras to manifest. Now, there are 7 chakras. Let me say that again. There are 7 primary chakras. In the body, there are many chakras. Some people say 14,000, other people say 72,000. The fact is that everywhere where we have a plexus in the body, a plexus is a location where we have nerve terminal endings, and when we have both arterial and venous blood, blood that flows through the artery, fresh with oxygen. Venous blood is the blood that is returning to the heart, that is lacking some oxygen. The combination of those three things, they enable the creation of a plexus. And because there is electricity in our body, everywhere there is a magnetic field, everywhere there is an electric current, there exists a magnetic field. And what we see, this space where we have venous and arterial blood that is operating at different degrees of fire, and we have these nerve endings where we have electricity, well, right there we have a plexus. So in our body, we have many of these. And if you have ever seen an acupuncture chart, you will know exactly what is it that we mean. But when it comes to the study of these chakras, there are 7 primary chakras. And these 7 chakras are known as the 7 churches in the book of Revelation. The Apostle John speaks to all of them. The first one starts at the base of the spine, at the coccyx. If you look at the diagram that we have on the screen, we're speaking about the one on the farthest left corner at the bottom of the screen. This first chakra is known as the Church of Ephesus, and it's located at the coccygeio bone. The next one is the Church of Pergamum, and this is located at the level of the prostate, at the level of the uterus in the woman. The next one is the chakra of the solar plexus. This is the Church of Smyrna. And this chakra, well, we find it at around 3 fingers above the navel. But this chakra is not in front of your belly. This chakra is accessible from behind, from the spine. Then there is the Church of Thyatira. This is the chakra of the heart. There is also the Church of Sardis at the creative larynx, the Church of Philadelphia between the eyebrows, and then there is the Church of Laodicea at the crown of the head. So these are the 7 primary chakras that help bring organization into the creation of the primordial man. So let's start at the very crown of our body. Starting at the very top of our head, we have the Church of Laodicea. This is the chakra Sahasrara. And this chakra connects with our pineal gland. There are some interesting studies that have been done about the pineal gland. For those of you who have this very strong inclination to science, allow us to share with you that there is a technical paper that was released a few years ago where it has been discovered that within the pineal gland, providing that the pineal gland is very, very small, there are some asymmetric rhombic crystals that have a composition of aluminum and calcium. What is interesting about these particular crystals is that these crystals have 2 specific properties. They are transducers, and number 2, they are piezoelectric. Piezoelectric means that if you bring movement into them, they generate electricity. And of course, if it generates electricity, it generates a magnetic field. Knowing that this happens, that pineal gland becomes energized when we bring a source of vibration, think in terms of mantra, a word of power, then the second faculty of these materials comes into play. Because transducer means that it can take a vibration and translate it, convert it into some sort of imagery. Those of you who may be a little older in the audience, you would remember the old TVs that we used to have at home with antennas. Transducers within the TV allow the antennas to receive radio frequency signals and convert that into a visible image on the screen. Now those crystals in the pineal gland, they have that very same faculty. So when Samael invites us to chant mantras for 1 hour a day, when Samael says that it is more valuable for us to chant mantras for 1 hour a day than to read 1,000 books, now this gives you an indication on why is that. Because when we relax the body, when we chant those mantras that allow for the harmonious vibration of the chakras in the head, then we invite the generation of that magnetic field within the pineal gland. And when we do that, well, the pineal gland becomes more capable of transducing, of receiving those higher vibrations and giving that to us as vision. This is how the Father communicates. This is why it is so wonderful that science is catching up with all of this ancient wisdom. So this is the chakra Sahasrara. It is connected to the pineal gland, and the virtues that come with it are sainthood and willpower. Certainly, the moment that we can tap into those frequencies and receive those vivid images from the inner realms of creation, everything else starts becoming intelligently deprioritized. Then suddenly we realize what is truly important. Then we don't get so distracted with the news or the social media, and we start placing the true value, that transvaluation, where it truly corresponds. This chakra has 1,000 petals, and it gives you the faculty of polyvision. You can see everything. When this chakra is awakened, you can perceive from so many different angles that you experience the beginnings of that faculty of omniscience. The colors of this chakra are violet and yellow. Violet and yellow. The great masters, well, for them, this chakra is golden. This is why we see the great master Jesus with that golden sun around his head. This is why we see the angels with a golden halo around their heads. This is why we see the apostles with the fire manifesting on the day of Pentecost. Golden in the masters, violet and yellow on everyone else. This is the chakra Sahasrara. We descend, and right in between the eyebrows, we find the Church of Philadelphia. This is the chakra Ajna. And this chakra corresponds with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland and the pineal gland, with them both being in the head, they vibrate with the same frequency, particularly with the vibration of the letter I, chanted E. But this chakra does not have two petals. We saw the chakra Sahasrara, 1,000 petals. It is a lotus of 1,000 petals. But this one has 96 petals. It has 48 on either side. 48 petals that are active, 48 petals that are inactive. And this particular chakra grants you the faculty of clairvoyance. Samael says clairvoyance is imagination. Actually, Samael says everyone is more or less clairvoyant, just like everyone is more or less imaginative. So this is why we invite you, this is why the master tells us to use your objective imagination, use your creative power so that you can see with that inner eye. Now the color of the chakra that you saw it earlier in that snippet says it shines indigo. Well, the true color of the chakra is bright white. It's not indigo. It is bright white. As we descend, we get into the area of the larynx, and here we find the chakra vishuda, also known in the book of Revelation as the Church of Sardis. This particular magnetic center is connected to the thyroid gland. And the virtue that it grants you is the ability to safeguard the creative word, because it grants you clairaudience, the ability to listen to the words, the symphonies of the inner worlds. It also grants you the faculty of comprehension. But it's a comprehension that does not rely on the intellect. It is a comprehension that has nothing to do with the logical processes of the mind. This is a comprehension that is an instinctive faculty of the consciousness. Simply, you get it, and you get it. And because you get that comprehension, that deep and profound comprehension grants you the synthesis of the concept. That means that whatever you see, it is an instinctive faculty of your own psyche, of the consciousness, to find the good in the bad in the good, and to see how all things come together. This particular chakra then gives you the virtue of safeguarding the creative word. And as this chakra awakens, you become not only more eloquent, but in your eloquence, you require of less words. You limit yourself to speak the truth. You do not engage in senseless conversations. You do not engage in throwing away your opinions. That does not happen. The color of this particular chakra is an intense blue. Then there is the heart chakra, the chakra anahata. This chakra is known in the book of Revelations as the Church of Thyatira, and it is located at the thymus gland. The thymus gland is right there in the proximity, in the immediate vicinity of the heart. And this particular chakra grants you the virtues of charity, faith, patience, and prayer. Some people may argue, wait, why is it that the chakra gives me that? I am already charitable. I already have faith. I already practice patience. But we cannot confuse the faculties of the innermost with our positive values. Because in the many positive and negative values that we have, well, we have negative values like those of lust, envy, greed, anger, ambition, etc. But we also have positive values that are altruistic, patient, charitable, serviceable, etc. Whether they are positive or negative values, they are all part of the ego. And not only we have to get rid of the negative values, we also have to get rid of the positive values as well. And the reason behind that is because even though we can admit that the positive values are of limited value, they are fairly useful, your life experience has already shown you how is it that these positive values will do good. But the problem is that they don't know when exactly is that good should be done. And sometimes you think that you are making a favor, and you will then take some actions, and suddenly you will see the circumstances get complicated. And then you will say, that is not what I intended. I did not know that that was going to happen. I did not expect that. And then you will apologize. So this is the problem with the positive values. The virtues again, charity, faith, patience, and prayer. And it grants you the faculty of intuition. Intuition gives you the ability to know the significance of things without having to go through the logical process of the mind. You just know. You receive that, and suddenly anything that you had to know about, whatever that was, you just know it. And this particular chakra, it grants you the faculty of astral travel, and it grants you the faculties of jinn state. So by virtue of awakening the chakra, you can get your physical body vibrating at a higher scale, at a higher octave, and you can get your body into the fourth dimension of nature and travel with it. You can also elongate your body or shrink it. You can make it very heavy. You can make it very light. Suddenly, you can work with animals and you can dominate ferocious beasts, just like St. Francis of Assisi used to do. You could even live underwater indefinitely, just like Swami Trilinga. So these are all faculties that come with the awakening of this particular chakra. Now, the color of the chakra is certainly not green. The chakra is of a burning fire color. Then as we descend into the solar plexus, we have the chakra manipura. This is the church of Pergamum that is mentioned in the book of Revelation. And this chakra, well, it is found 3 fingers above the navel, but it is not in the front of the belly. You find this one in the lumbar region, in the back of your spine, in your back, along your spine, in the area that is opposite to the navel. In terms of virtues, this chakra grants you the virtue of abstinence. Certainly, abstinence comes with the elimination of gluttony. And we know that gluttony is a very voracious appetite. We know that we can relate gluttony to food. That is very easy to do. But when we expand the definition of food, not only into the gross foodstuff that we consume, but food in terms of the impressions that nourish the mind, we can see how our gluttony goes beyond food and into a voracious appetite for impressions. And now that we have social media within the reach of our smartphones, it is very easy to see that gluttony in action, craving for likes and laughs and memes, etc., etc., etc. This is a chakra of 10 petals, and when it comes to faculties, it gives you the faculty of telepathy. So different than what many people think, telepathy is not something that you perceive in the head. Telepathy is something that you receive and you perceive through the chakra manipura within your solar plexus. Now this chakra is not orange. The color of the chakra is gray, but gray as in not cadaver gray, but gray as in the gray color of the clouds when we have a sky that is loaded and ready to rain. That is the gray color of the chakra. As we continue descending, well, we get to the level of the uterus or the prostate in men, and here we find the Church of Smyrna. This is the chakras valistana. And this is a chakra, a lotus of 6 petals. The virtues that come with this particular chakra are no fear of tribulation. It's an innate courage that emanates from the consciousness. With the awakening of the chakra, the virtue of no fear of tribulation, no fear of poverty, it opens the doors of faith to the experience of the innermost. And in terms of faculties, it gives you power over the element of water. This particular chakra is not yellow. This one is of a color vermilion red, which is the color of rich, pure blood. And then we get to the very bottom of the spine. At the bottom of the spine, we find the coccygeio chakra, the foundation chakra, and this is the chakra Muladhara. This is known as the Church of Ephesus. And the virtue that it grants you is stability. But think of stability in terms of an emotional stability. The ability to go through the harshest of circumstances and for you to remain unshaken. To be a true, solid foundation for the work. This is a chakra of 4 petals. 2 of them are active, 2 of them are inactive. And in terms of faculties, awakening the chakra, awakening the fire of Kundalini, and Kundalini opening the doors of this particular church, it gives you power over the element of earth. And Samael says, once the practitioner receives the faculties from the chakra, they can start earthquakes or stop them. Now, the colors in the chakra are different. In the typical human, the color of the chakra is of a dirty red. In the initiate, the chakra is of a yellow-red combination. It is very fulgurant. And in the mystical initiate, this chakra is purple, blue, and red. As you awaken your faculty of clairvoyance, those of you who have been chanting the letter R or chanting the mantra E or have been doing the exercise with your cup of water with the mirror inside the water, well, as you have been practicing, it is likely that you have already started perceiving the colors of the astral light. As you continue your practice, eventually you will perceive the colors of the aura of people. And as you see this, you will be able to see what are the colors of this particular chakra. And you will be able to see and distinguish, if you were fortunate enough to be at the presence of them, of a mystical initiate with those chakras, that chakra just resplendent in purple, blue, and red. And for the most part, you will see the rest of all the humans walking as well around us with the typical dirty red color along that region. Now, to answer the question, how do the chakras rotate? We want you to know that the chakras rotate left to right. But we say that, and we know that that is still not enough. It is left to right as when you are standing before a clock. If you were to hang a clock on the wall and you were to observe that second or that minute hand rotating, that is the rotation of the chakras. They spin from left to right. So from your perspective, if you were to start on your left side, they will go up towards the top of your head, down towards your right shoulder, down towards your navel, and then up. This is the actual rotation of the chakras. So when we are doing visualizations on how the chakras rotate, remember, we will always see them rotating from left to right. And for the purpose of our practice, when we invite you to visualize your chakra rotating, imagine your chakra spinning and see it spinning. And as you see it spinning, then chant the vowel that corresponds to the particular chakra, so that you can allow for those subtle energies from within the astral plane to flow through the chakra and be deposited within your vital body. One thing that you need to know is that we can only receive the most subtle of the energies from the astral plane. And to filter those energies, as the chakra spins, there is a particular delicate material within that fifth dimension of nature that is called the Buddhic mesh. This Buddhic mesh operates like a filter. If we were to give you a very inadequate, gross example, imagine the thin paper-like material that you use to filter your coffee in the morning. The Buddhic mesh is something similar to that. And the purpose of the Buddhic mesh is to filter only the most subtle energies that come to us from the astral dimension, so that as we receive them through those chakras spinning, that those subtle energies can be deposited in those corresponding glands of the endocrine system. And of course, that energy does not just go to the physical gland, they go to the vital aspect of the gland, and based on the ray of creation, once that vitality becomes infused, affected, enriched by that subtle energy from the fifth dimension, then it naturally crystallizes and materializes within the physical plane. So there are some mantras that we need to know when it comes to associating words of power, mantras, to the chakras. The chakras of the head vibrate with the vowel I, but in English, we chant it E. And it should sound something like this. E. The chakra of the larynx, that grants us the power of the word, that gives us that faculty of clairaudience. It vibrates with the vowel E, chanted, as in Spanish, E. The faculty of intuition at the level of the heart. Well, we vibrate that chakra with the vowel O, sounding O. The solar plexus, where we see the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder, other organs in there, they're all associated to that. Well, that vibrates with the vowel U. Ooh. Then we have the vowel A. The vowel A invites the vibration of the thymus gland at the level of the heart. But there are also two other chakras in our lungs. And these chakras grant us the ability to remember our past lives. So when we chant the letter A, not only we are inviting the vibration of the chakras of the lungs, we are also inviting the vibration of the thymus gland, right there where we also have the chakra anahata. And that sounds like Ah. And last but not least, the chakra that exists at the level of the uterus in the women, the prostate in the man, well, the chakra vibrate with the letter M. As we sing this letter, we invite the vibration of the chakra, and that chakra energizes our sexual creative waters. It magnetizes those waters, making them ready for transmutation. And the last one is the base chakra at our coccygeio bone, this Church of Ephesus. Here is where the sacred fire is stored. And the sacred fire, like a serpent, is coiled in itself 3.5 times. The same amount of times that correspond to the many days that it took for the great master to resurrect with his body of resurrection. This chakra at the base of the spine and of that fire, well, what invites the vibration of the chakra is the letter S. S is the sound of the fire. Very well. So this is what we wanted to share with you tonight. My friends, we sourced our material from Samael's very own writings. His book is actually titled The Magic of the Chakras. And as always, we're very grateful to all of these sources because it is thanks to them that we can get good images to put this material together for you. So this has been our lecture on the 7 chakras. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. And may all beings be happy.